This is UMAR AHMED for IFL TV in association with MTK Global. Via Zoom, I'm joined by Charlie Edwards for the first time during lockdown. I ain't seen you for ages. How you doing, Charlie?
Yeah, I'm doing fine, thank you. It's what it is, the situation that we're in, we're all in the same boat. Just kind of getting on with my training outside, doing my runs, been doing a few different sessions on Instagram Live with a few people, and I've got a punch bag in my garden, so I'm just kind of getting on with things to the best of my ability, really.
Are you in Sheffield or in Sutton?
Yeah, no, Sheffield. I just bought a house up here. So it's to be fair, this has happened. Not that this is a good thing at all. I'm not saying that, but for me, like this happened at a crazy time. I just moved into my house, and there was a lot of stress around moving everything in, sorting it out. I've refurbished it as well. So it's been a stressful time for me, and I was preparing for my last fight as well. So I weren't actually having the best camps in my last training camp, because of all the stress of the house move, everything getting done in my house. So it kind of like helped me settle in my house. This is my home now, and I feel secure, and I feel good to go, and I feel hungry and determined and more focused on the new ventures to get back to.
Last time I spoke to you, obviously you broke the fact that you split up with Eddie Hearn. It's been a couple of months since that now. Looking back at it, you no regrets on that decision or anything like that, Charlie?
No regrets on that decision. Like, I'm grateful and thankful for everything Eddie's done for me, like signing me from my debutant all the way up to winning a world title as well, losing one along the way. And I even had like my own show at the Copper Box. So I had a great run with Eddie, and it was a great time. But like, boxing's a business, right? And you got to do what's right for you at the end of the day, because we are, as fighters, on a conveyor belt system anyway. And I just thought, my contract's come to the end. I can step away from the contract and see what offers I've got out there. And I've got some great offers on the table. And my management team, MTK Global, my advisor, as well as advised me great, and we've got some very good things coming, and it's in the pipeline. So it has actually worked out that it was a great move for me.
Could we be seeing you basing some of your career in the States, Charlie?
Who knows? That you'll have to wait and see.
Trying to get it out of you. Obviously, there's a name that always gets mentioned with yourself when you're talking to people like me. It's Kal Yafai, and that fight, I think, in my opinion, makes sense more than ever now. Of course, you had your weird encounter with Martinez, and then he tried to go for greatness against Chocolatito and came up short. Nothing wrong about that. So for me, it makes sense now. Once we're back out this lockdown situation, do you see it like that as well, Charlie?
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. But you can't force someone in the ring, and that's where we're at. I've called for the fight for a very, very long time. I was even on Instagram Live with Eddie talking about the fight. Eddie really wants to make it. He's been wanting to make it for a long time. I see the interview with Kal when they mentioned and asked about me, and he was dismissing it straight away again, and was saying that he's moving up to bantamweight and he wanted to go on and get a bantamweight world title, and just dismissed me again. So you can't force someone in the ring. And for me, nothing's set in stone. I was asked to do one of them matchroom things that Ahara Davis and Anthony Fowler done, and a few other people have done. I was asked by Matchroom, I'm not going to mention any names, do you want to do one with Kal Yafai? And I went, yeah, of course I will. But I'll tell you one thing, he won't do one with me. And I said, but you've made a mistake asking me first, because if it doesn't happen and I haven't heard nothing back, which has been over 2-3 weeks now, I know what's what, and I won't be afraid to say it. So that's where we're at with that. So I kind of, whatever with Kal Yafai is whatever, if the offer comes in. But like I said, my career ahead of me, the offers that we've got on the table are great. And I'm not going to mess something up for my future and stability in my future with a dangling carrot in front of me that could mess my career up, like it did for 2 years when I was chasing him before I become a world champion. So it is what it is with Kal Yafai. It's a fight that I'm always going to want. It's always out there, and I think the British fans want to see it. We're 2 world champions, but who knows when it's going to happen? It's one of them, and I just got to wait and see what happens, I suppose.
Say that doesn't materialise. Give me some names, Charlie, of who you could fight.
To be fair, who knows what's going on with this kind of after lockdown? Like, we don't know who we're going to be able to fight. We don't know if we're going to have to fight just British fighters. And if it is just British fighters, it is that. And I'm not one who always sits here and like just calls out everyone. Like, my management team will have a plan for me. Kal Yafai has been one that has been ongoing for a long time. And I found in this program, the more you call people out, the more they kind of don't want it. So it's like, I'll see what offers are there in front of me. And literally, I'm here to fight anyone. I think I've proved that all through my career. Like, fights, and I've got in there time and time again, fight for titles, say yes to opponents. So I'm not really fussed. I just want a good challenge and a good pathway to go. So whoever it is who it is. I'm not one who sits here and studies people and like guns from on social media. I've come all the way through the ranks. I've become a world title, and I wouldn't really embarrass myself like that. The Kal Yafai fight, why I've called for that for a number of years is because it makes perfect sense. But I haven't really been eyeing up anyone else, and because of my management team's advice and guidance, it's not about calling people out. It's about setting up the next stages of my career, and then we can talk about that.
What weight do you think you'll be campaigning at? What's Grant said to you as well?
Me and Grant's had a conversation, as well as my management team, and I'm ranked number 3 with the WBC at super flyweight. So if the opportunity arises for a world title shot at super flyweight, I'm there. But it's still going to be a big struggle for me. So I think I want to come back at bantamweight, as in like my first few fights, get some good tough opponents in, and see how I feel at the weight, just like I did before when I was super flyweight, and then the WBC world title shot come up, and then I dropped from super flyweight to flyweight, and that's why it had a time period for me, and I would do that again. So I'm not ruling out super flyweight, but I do fancy to come back, especially if we're fighting British fighters, because of all this stuff. There's going to be a lot more to fight at bantamweight, I suppose.
Fair point. How's Sonny? You've been talking to him a lot?
Yeah, he's good. To be fair, we've just actually we went for a run. He was on the bike, and we was keeping like the 2 meter distance. So he rid the bike, and I just went for a run. So it's nice to see him again and have a little bit of a chat. Although obviously we've kept the 2 meter distance, and we're allowed to do that now. The government have allowed that guideline rule. So yeah, it's been nice to see him and have a little bit of a catch up, really.
What do you think's next for him?
It's interesting because in a normal world, he wants to defend his British title, but it's hard for him to get an opponent. So in a normal world, he would be pushing on to more world honours. But with everything that's going on now, he might have to fight a British fighter. But that could be very hard for him to get a British fighter in this time. So it's mad. Who knows what's going on? Like, there's supposed to be fights back in July, but then we're waiting for June for the board to actually okay them. So it's all a bit up in the air, really, isn't it?
Yeah,
it delays a lot of people's
sure. I mean, I know in terms of Matchroom fighters, Eddie's got that fight camp he's doing outside Matchroom HQ in the guard. So that's kind of first news, and we're waiting from Frank Warren. I think this is more specific to Sonny, obviously, but waiting for what Frank Warren's going to do. But you can't tell at the moment. But you're right, it will be more domestic clashes, especially at your weights, where we're used to guys flying in, especially from South America. It's probably going to be more appeasing to the fans watching on telly for the likes of you and your brother fighting domestic fighters, Charlie.
Yeah, 100%. I think it's going to be great for British boxing because there's so many good British dust-ups that can happen. but don't happen because we can get opponents in. And that's the sad thing, because British boxing fans love a British boxing fight. And there's always hype, there's a build up, like there's like real needle in it. And I think that's what we miss as in British boxing, is the British fights. Because everyone can go their own little route. They can go the IBF route, the WBC route, WBO, WBA, or they can go for the British, or they can swerve the British, go for the Commonwealth, or go for the European. So like, a lot of British fighters miss each other. Like, and I've said it, like, imagine with all this that's going on, no one can come in this country. Why not just set like a little British Super Series up? Just chuck everyone in the hat and just let's all battle it out. And that would make wicked TV. It would make wicked profiles. And then at the end of this is done, when we can start flying people in again, the best one survives. And then he's the one who deserves to go on to world honours and go on to be promoted this way and that way.
Well, similar to the golden contract, kind of the idea. I know in the golden contract, there was international fighters, but if we just limit it, as you said, to British fighters, and that was a great idea that the MTK did. So I think you're onto something there, Joe.
Yeah, no, definitely. But again, it's politics in boxing, because promoters don't work with promoters, and people are signed up to this and that, and it is crazy. Professional boxing is a real business as well as entertainment.
Well, it's not a sport as such. It's an event, isn't it? You're right. Yeah,
it's entertainment. It makes money. So whatever makes money comes a business, and then when it's a business, it becomes not a legitimate like Premier League. It's not like that, because it's impossible. It can't be like that, which is sad, really.
Charlie, looking back at that loss to Casemiro, we've seen since then that what a beast that man is. Obviously, the Tete knockout, which he was the underdog, if we remind ourselves going into that fight. And then he had his fight coming up with Inoue as well. That loss looks much better, if you like, Charlie.
Yeah,
you must agree with that.
Yeah, definitely. When I had the loss and I went through, like, I got a bit of bad stick about it. Like, who's this guy? Like, he's a big hype job. This fighter's already lost a few fights and that. But Casemiro is a real nightmare in that ring. And he's had the hard career the whole way through his career, like traveling all in people's back gardens, fighting at a young age as well, and winning world titles. And he's like one of the most unknown professional world champions, who's a real like world beater. He's very experienced, he's very tough, and he can punch really, really hard. So he's gone on and he's proved a lot of people wrong. And it looks a lot better now. But like I said, I knew when I got in that ring with him how special he was. So for me, I just learned a hell of a lot. And when I look back and I lasted 10 rounds and Tete's getting done in 3, you know, it shows what level I actually am. Even though people like to say I'm a fake champion or this or that, I know what I'm operating at myself.
Definitely. Well, listen, I know you've just done an Insta Live as well with Jack Fowler, you done it?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I've kept you long enough now. You look tired as well, Char. You've been training hard.
I've trained twice today. I've got my own little gym here. I've gone out and done my long run, you know, and I'm at that stage now where I'm training 2 times a day, 6 days a week, and albeit from home, but I'm doing different kinds of training, and I'm really enjoying different kinds of training. But like, I'm bringing my weight in now a little bit more. I'm trying to get back to my diets, getting back to healthy routines, and so when this does hopefully come back in July, I'll only need a 4-week camp and I'll be good to go.
All right, Charlie Edwards, thank you very much for talking to IFL TV. Hopefully I'll see you in person rather doing another Zoom interview. Stay safe for the rest of lockdown, all right?
Nice one. Thank you for your time, mate.